It was the pick of the quarter-final ties, and the large attendance at Richmond Park generated a real cup tie atmosphere. Inside the first 5 minutes, the opening chance of the game fell to Bohemians. Chris Turner hit the target, but Barry Ryan made the save. Soon after, at the opposite end, Alan Blaney raced out of his goal and was booked for his challenge on Gary O'Neill. Bohs continued to look dangerous early on. When the ball broke to John Paul Kelly, he was let down by the finish. Pats created little in the first half, although Alan Kirby's impressive first-time volley was just a little too high. Bohs took the lead just past the midway point of the first half. Desi Byrne sent in the cross, and despite the close attentions of Dave Rogers and Colin Foley, Darren Manserum managed to create an opening for himself before getting the better of Barry Ryan. One almost became two before the break. The curling effort on goal from Ryan McCann clipped the post. Pats would head into the interval a goal down, but a man up when Bohemians had Desi Byrne sent off. Byrne had already been booked, and he picked up a second caution from referee Alan Kelly after a full-blooded challenge on Keith Fahey. The referee was again a central figure early in the second half. When Alan Kirby went down in the box under a challenge from Owen Heary, the former Longford Town man wanted a penalty. What he got was a yellow card for diving. But Pats drew level courtesy of a Keith Fahey free kick. The Bohemians' wall was well manned, but Fahey spotted a way around it and a way past Alan Blaney. Bohemians responded in the best way possible by quickly regaining the lead. Again, the goal came from Darren Manserum. From well outside the box, he beat Barry Ryan for the second time, 2-1 to Bohs. Fahey almost matched Manserum by scoring his second of the evening. Again, it was from a free kick. The strike was good, but the ball hit the bar. And so for St. Pat's, the long wait continues for FAI Cup glory. Bohs' hopes of a cup double remain very much on track.
Wasn't just the personnel. Galway United were forced into changing on Friday night. They had to wear their away shirts despite being at home to St Patrick's Athletic. It mattered little as Galway took the game to St Pat's, and they could and maybe should have taken the lead. Alan Murphy had plenty of space, but he couldn't keep his shot down. At the other end, Galway failed to clear a St Pat's free kick, but Joseph N'Do's delicate chip was inches over. St Pat's boss John McDonnell made a double substitution on 64 minutes, and Ryan Guy's introduction was to prove a masterstroke. 3 minutes later, Keith Fahey's corner wasn't properly cleared, and the midfielder got another chance to swing the ball into the box. This time his deep cross found Guy at the far post. Pats 1-0 up. With time running out, fellow sub Glenn Fitzpatrick ran at the Galway defence. Reggie Newtonmere couldn't deal with the danger, and he illegally ended the striker's run. A penalty for St Patrick's, a red card for the Dutchman. But Gary O'Neill's gentle spot kick came off the post. It didn't matter. A first away win since April for St Pat's keeps them in pursuit for a place in Europe.
You know, you ask the players to show a bit of character, and they showed the character tonight by not conceding. A bit of pressure on them, you know, and we held out in the end. We missed a penalty close to the end of the game, so we should have the game wrapped up. In fairness to Galway, you know, they had a couple of chances and could have went either way. Whoever got the first goal was going to be very, very important.
Frost whips in the corner. Murphy was strong with the fist. The full-back might get a second chance to deliver here. And that was Anto Murphy. And what about that for a save from his namesake Brian in the Bows goal? Well, chances have been at something of a premium in this first half, but that was a wonderful effort. And Brian Murphy was equal to the challenge. Here he tucks it back inside, and that's a wonderful reverse pass to the feet of Mansorum. Richardson! And Dean Richardson knows that was a glorious opportunity. Darren Mansorum again involved. Well, with the League Cup final on the horizon, Richardson has been given his opportunity to shine tonight. Wonderful reverse ball to Mansorum. He picked out the run of the winger, and he should really have hit the target. Something of a hopeful delivery. Great touch by Quigley, though, and that was an audacious effort. Well, after a lacklustre opening, this one has certainly come to life. And Quigley almost produced the spark to ignite the Saints' challenge. O'Donnell. And the flag stayed down here, Mansorum surely. And what about that for a neat finish? Darren Mansorum proves the scourge of St. Pat's once again. And what does that mean to the travelling support? More than a hint of offside about this one. But he held the line well. Fortunate bounce off his shoulder. But didn't he keep his composure brilliantly? He arrived from Sligo with a big reputation. It's taken some time, but he's won the Bows fans over here. And that's his 4th goal in 3 games for the Gypsies. That's helped on to the path of Quigley. Connor Powell, the defender, with him. And has he taken the legs of the striker here? Damien Hancock says no. Quigley believes he has. And it seems he definitely had a strong case. He touch inside towards McCann. And he sent Mansorum clear again. Glorious chance to make it 2. But Ryan was out swiftly. No question about an offside here. And Barry Ryan has kept his side in this game. Is there to be a late sting in the tail? The head tennis continues. That's been set up for Quigley. And that's another wonderful stop by Brian Murphy. Well, Quigley has looked most likely to produce something for the Saints this evening. But once more, Murphy is the immovable object. And there is the full-time whistle at Richmond Park. Darren Mansorum proves the difference between St. Pat's and Bows for the 2nd time this season. He's surely dented their European aspirations. A 1-0 result courtesy of this man leaves Sean Connor's men in good stead ahead of the League Cup final.
St. Pat's may have faded out of contention for the league title, but there is still a European spot to fight for. Johnny McDonald's side took a deserved lead in the 10th minute, Mark Quigley with the finish. Sligo's response came from Kadosevic, his free kick easily covered by Barry Ryan. On the 20-minute mark, Pats made it 2, Gary O'Neill racing on to the flick-on and chipping over the back-pedalling Richard Brush. It was one-way traffic, and 7 minutes before half-time, it was 3-0, Anto Murphy heading past Brush. Sligo had a few half chances, but the first half was very much St. Pat's. Paul Cook's team talk seemed to work. It was a different Sligo after the break, and they gave themselves a lifeline when Matthew Judge hammered home in the 74th minute. 10 minutes later, they had another, Judge's strike partner Kadosevic with the goal. Sligo couldn't rescue a point late on, Brian Cash blasting over.
Pats were fantastic in the first half. You know, it was men against boys. You know, we were all over the place. We were second to everything. As an 11v11 contest, it wasn't a contest. St. Pat's were fantastic. Second half, to be fair, we've had a go. We've come into the game well. We've come out the game with a little bit of credit.
Second place on a UEFA Cup spot. But Rovers have begun to tie up in the finishing straight. A run of 3 defeats on the spin would have to be ended if they weren't to drift off the pace. It was Pats who were off the mark first, however. Michael Keane's ball found Alan Kirby after 21 minutes. His half volley gave the home side the lead. Billy Gibson was recalled by Johnny McDonald for the suspended Anto Murphy, and he made his mark in fine style with this sweet volley 3 minutes from the break. Pats looked to be timing their end-of-season run perfectly, and they made this game safe 11 minutes after half-time. Kirby again on the mark from Keith Fahy's cross. The Rovers' support was hurting at this stage as Pats piled on the pain, and Gary O'Neill stuck the dagger in further with his 6th of the season after Mark Quigley's set-up. The final whistle must have seemed a long way away for Rovers when Eric McGill was ordered off for a foul on Keane off the ball after 67 minutes. Pats showed Rovers a small amount of mercy thereafter, adding just the one more, but it was a suitable 5th to adorn a fine performance. Gibson's name was written right through it, driving through a dispirited Rovers defence to finish off a flowing move. 4 defeats in a row for Rovers now, their fine season coming to a disappointing conclusion. Pats looking like the best of the rest at the moment.
Yeah, right win. I think from backroom staff right through, I've worked really hard over the last couple of weeks, and we deserved a win tonight. You can see that everybody was quite happy when the goals went in. And we've been working really hard over the last couple of weeks on stuff like that, and it's great to see a couple of midfielders scoring a couple of goals, and one from one of my boys up front, so quite happy. I mean, it's been a long hard season for us, and I mean, everybody at the club has been working really hard to push on from last year, where we finished last year. We needed to finish higher up in the season, this season, higher up, so we did. At the moment we're in 2nd position, so hopefully we can keep that going till the end of the season.
Not the sort of fond farewells UCD had in mind as they prepared to say goodbye to Belfield. St Pat's are showing the form they showed at the start of the season, and with a chance to secure European football, they wasted little time in going about the task in hand. They were in front inside 90 seconds. Gary O'Neill with his 8th goal of the season. Pats had penalty claims midway through the first half as O'Neill went down in the box. Referee Tweet wasn't interested, despite the protest from Saints boss John McDonnell. UCD responded and Ronan Finn turned inside Michael Keane. Brendan Clark stopped the cross-come shot. Connor Salmon couldn't force the ball home. The students continued to pose questions. Patrick McWalter had the chance after a mistake by Stephen Paisley, but he showed too much of it to Clark, who gathered at the midfielder's feet. Joseph Ndo came on at the interval. He spent much of the season injured, and the second half started in similar fashion to the first, except it took Pats 10 minutes to double their lead. Keith Fahy with the corner, Stephen Paisley with his first goal since moving from Longford at the start of the season. They threatened again shortly afterwards. From Clark's massive goal kick, Alan McNally got his head onto it, but Tony McDonnell let it bounce. Mark Quigley was onto it, but he hooked his effort over. UCD had chances too. Substitute Paul Crowley's low cross was parried by Clark. His defence did the rest. And with UCD pressing, St Pat's hit them with a 3rd goal with 9 minutes to go. Pats teased the students with some slick passing. 7 players got in on the action before Gary O'Neill threaded the ball through to Quigley. His 15th goal of the season. A 4th win in a row for St Pat's, a 2nd place finish, and UEFA Cup football at Richmond Park next season.
We goals set out at the start of the season, and I think we've achieved them now. We spoke about Europe and Setanta Cup, finishing as high as possible up the table, and looking back in the middle season, if we hadn't had that glitch, I think we'd have been a lot closer to Drogheda than when they got away and won the league. But fantastic season for us, fantastic for the supporters. I'm delighted for them as well, but more so for the players. They're in there, they deserved it. We're there on merit.
We're playing our last match in Belfield. Didn't exactly cover ourselves with glory, and the better team won in the night. We had a spell there maybe in the first half when we had 1 or 2 chances, but then we didn't score then. And when Pat got the 2nd goal, then it was all over.
It's hard to come out here, you know the way it is. You come out here to get 3 goals, not concede anything. Great result for us. It gives us a great goal difference as well. I think we've 54 goals now that have scored against 29 against. It's a fair return for the season, and it's nice to secure the place with 1 game to go.
It wasn't.
Were it not for Pat's dodgy mid-season spell, or perhaps Drogheda's relentless consistency, this could have been a title decider. But with nothing at stake between the top 2, it was a tame evening at Richmond Park. Billy Gibson's header was Pat's best effort of the first half. No trouble for Stewie Byrne to clear, however. Then Paul Keegan brought a save from Pat's veteran stand-in Robbie Horgan. The admission price was justified shortly after the break, however. Keith Fahey's free kick was beautifully struck, but Dan Connor's save was magnificent. Never mind Ireland B, Shea Given will be looking over his shoulder if Connor keeps that up. Pat's best chance to put one over on the champions fell to Alan Kirby, but Connor and Brian Shelley were in no mood to be beaten. And so ended Drogheda United's very first title-winning season. Pat's fans will hope their side can get a little closer next year.
We definitely didn't want to lose tonight, the last home game of the season. We'd always like to finish our home games with a win, maybe finish with a win. I think we had enough chances to win the game as well.
I think that the game was decent for the game that had really no significance in it. Probably we didn't want to lose and Pats probably wanted to win to close in the gap. But I think, you know, all in all, it's been a fantastic season for us again, and we're delighted to win the league.
So here's a look at how things finished up in the Aircom League of Ireland Premier Division season for the 2007 campaign. Down at the bottom, it's Longford Town who dropped to the First Division. Waterford United now away to play-off to see if they'll be playing in the top flight next year. Galway United can be very proud of their first season back in the Premier Division. And Drogheda United fans would be more than happy to look at the top half of the table for the entire show. Their side champions for the first time in the club's history. St Pat's have UEFA Cup football to look forward to in 2008, while the Intertoto Cup beckons for Bohemians. Cork City finished fourth, but may yet qualify for Europe if they beat relegated Longford Town in the FAI Cup final. Shamrock Rovers and Sligo Rovers complete the top six.